Nick and Nicolandria just made history, and honestly, the internet cannot handle it right now. They landed the Glamour magazine holiday cover, and this is their very first magazine cover together as a couple. But here's what's really got everyone talking. There's this behind-the-scenes video that Glamour posted, and one comment under it pretty much sums up everything. Someone said they're giving that deep, quiet, already been married for 50 years kind of love. And you know what? That person nailed it, because when you watch them together, it's not giving lust or new relationship energy, it's giving home, it's giving peace, it's giving we already know how this ends, and we're completely okay with it. Let me tell you something about this video that Glamour posted. You genuinely cannot fake what these two have. I don't care how good of an actor you think you are, the way they move around each other, the way they communicate without even talking, that's not something you can manufacture for a photo shoot. And this is wild to me because they're one of only 2 couples left from Love Island USA who actually left the villa together and are still going strong, yet somehow there are still people in the comments saying they're faking it for clout. The reporter who interviewed them even mentioned this in the article. She said that during their entire meeting, Nick and Nicolandria were going back and forth like an actual couple. They were adding to each other's answers, doing playful banter, and apparently they had all these inside jokes that they weren't about to share with the rest of the world. Of course, they were also hyping each other up the entire time, because that's what they do. They're each other's biggest fans, and it shows in everything they do together.
They wrote that during the entire meeting, they were going back and forth in a couple-like way, adding to each other's answers, playful banter, and the inside jokes that they apparently did not want to let the world know of. And of course, we know Nick and Nicolandria are each other's biggest fans, so they were also super hyping each other.
The whole article is titled The Year of Nicolandria, which honestly is the most accurate thing I've heard all year. Think about where they were just 12 months ago.
Dealing with the pissed off customers every single day wasn't just for her. In Nicolandria's recent TikTok live, she said that
Nicolandria was working an elevator job in Houston, dealing with angry customers every single day, knowing deep down that this wasn't her path. Nick was 7,000 miles away in Japan doing modeling work, making good money, partying, going with the flow, but feeling like something was missing. He said he had enough money to do whatever he wanted, but still didn't feel like he had a purpose. And now, a year later, they're Nicolandria. They're arguably the most talked about reality TV couple of 2025. They're on magazine covers. They've got millions of people invested in their relationship. And here's something beautiful that Nicolandria mentioned in a recent TikTok live. She said that Nick knew she would never have to go back to the elevator industry even before they left the villa.
He brought that up. He was like, remember that conversation we had? I was like, yeah. I'm just supposed to get out, and he was just like, you don't have to go back to the elevator industry. So yeah, he saw a lot.
He saw the vision for her before she saw it for herself. He told her, remember that conversation we had? You don't have to go back to the elevator. That's the kind of support we're talking about here. When they went on Love Island, they had completely different expectations. Nicolandria said she just wanted real love after being single for 5 years. According to her, the dating pool in Houston sucked, so she figured she'd try her luck somewhere else.
This before I even did.
1,000 miles away in Japan doing some model work. He said that he was making enough money to do whatever he wanted, but still didn't feel like he had a purpose, just partying and going with the flow. One thing led to another, and a year later, they're now globally known as Nicolandria, arguably the most talked about reality TV couple in 2025. So the interview talked about their lives before. During said that she just wanted real love after being single for 5 years. Plus, the dating pool in Houston sucked according to her, so she wanted to try her luck somewhere else. As for Nick, he said that he went on Love Island to have some good time, not necessarily thinking about the future. He said that he did have a good time, and now everything that came out of it is so beautiful and amazing. Still about the show, Nicolandria said that she wasn't okay with the way she was edited, which I think is one of the many reasons that they told that made us through a TV screen and watched us every single day for 6 weeks weeks at a time. They're hungry for more. We felt obligated to let them in still in the beginning. He was the Nicolandria updater, meaning Nick, because I was so shook up and just not really friendly with the internet at that time. They would get all the updates from his Snapchat account, what I'm doing, what we're up to. They were so used to seeing us on the screen and they loved us so much. It was like we have to keep giving them the content. But eventually it became mentally draining. People started to nitpick. They were doing that on the show, but we didn't have our phones to see it. Now that we're actually having to live with it and hear about it, it is like maybe we don't need to share as much anymore. They will find the smallest little thing and it is a big discourse all over social media. Because mentally we were both just drained. We depend on each other to uplift and be there for each other when we're going through things, but it became draining for both of us. Olenja added that I was like, okay, maybe if we share less, that is better, but even then, discourse starts because we don't share enough. Then Nick adds that damned if you do, damned if you don't. Olenja continues and says that they're still trying to get used to being in the spotlight. Things that we used to do before the show, we can't necessarily do now because that will start discourse. Being in the spotlight is fun, the glamour is all fun, but you have to rearrange your whole life and how you move going forward. And when you're extremely popular like him and me, it is just like, I want to still be me and have some fun. How can I do that when there's always a camera and people purposely trying to talk down on you for whatever reasons? I don't know, it's weird. And then the reporter said that it's not just people scrutinizing them as individuals, but also their relationship. Olenja said that it is so draining, adding that they always have to constantly check on each other to see how they're doing mentally. She said that I wish we didn't have to do that as much as we had to. Thank God we've got each other, because I don't know what we would do without each other, literally, when it comes to that. Now, Nick says that it's so interesting because being in the media space now, people want to be let in, and the more you let them in, the monetary gain is nice. So finding the balance of, okay, this is our work now, but it's also our life, was kind of hard in the beginning, but now I feel like we've got a better grip on it. Missing out on some monetary value is so worth it for your mental health. Olenja says that people are always like, Olenja doesn't post enough, and then says that she doesn't care too. She adds that I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. I want to let people in, but it's hard when people are always trying to rip you to shreds. I hope they understand that I'm not purposely trying to keep them out of the loop. It is like, imagine you being in the spotlight and people find little bits and pieces to pick you apart about. When I just had to go on the show, I never thought about the aftermath. I only went thinking I want to find a person. I never thought about what my actual life would be. I'm still trying to make sense of it. I honestly forgot there was a price because I had such tunnel vision. I was so focused on the overall goal to find someone. Then when ish was going left, I'm like, send me home.
That's it. That was her whole goal. Find someone real. Nick, on the other hand, went on the show to have a good time. He wasn't necessarily thinking about the future or finding his wife. He just wanted to enjoy the experience. And he did have a good time, but everything that came out of it, the relationship, the connection, the love, that was all beautiful and unexpected. That's what makes their story so special. One person went looking for love, the other person went looking for fun, and somehow they found each other and built something real. Now, Olandria did mention something important about the show itself. She wasn't okay with how she was edited, and apparently this is one of the main reasons they turned down Beyond the Villa. They didn't want to give producers more footage to potentially twist or manipulate. When you've already felt misrepresented once, you're going to be a lot more protective about what you allow cameras to capture the second time around. That's not being difficult, that's being smart about protecting your image and your relationship. But let's talk about the biggest thing they opened up about in this interview, the decision to go private. The reporter asked them what made them realize they needed to minimize the access they give people into their relationship and their lives. And Olandria's answer was really honest and kind of heartbreaking. She said it was hard at first because these are the people who made us through their TV screens. They watched us every single day for 6 weeks. They're hungry for more content, and we felt obligated to give it to them. In the beginning, Nick was the Nicolandria updater because Olandria was still shook up from everything and wasn't really friendly with the internet yet. Everyone would get updates updates from his Snapchat about what they were doing, where they were going. People were so used to seeing them on screen and loved them so much that Nick and Nicolandria felt like they had to keep giving them content. But eventually, it became mentally draining. Nicolandria said people started to nitpick everything. They were doing that during the show too, but Nick and Nicolandria didn't have their phones in the villa to see it. Now that they're actually having to live with it and hear about it constantly, they realize maybe they don't need to share as much anymore, because people will find the smallest little thing and turn it into a huge discourse all over social media. Here's what really got me. Nicolandria said that mentally, they were both just drained. They depend on each other to uplift one another and be there when things get tough, but the constant scrutiny became draining for both of them. She thought maybe if they shared less, things would get better. But then discourse started because they weren't sharing enough, and Nick jumped in with the perfect summary: damned if you do, damned if you don't. Nicolandria continued and said they're still trying to get used to being in the spotlight. Things they used to do before the show, they can't necessarily do now because it'll start discourse. She said the glamour is fun, being in the spotlight is fun, but you have to rearrange your whole life and how you move going forward. And when you're extremely popular like they are, she just wants to still be herself and have some fun. But how can you do that when there's always a camera around and people are purposely trying to tear you down for whatever reason? And it's not just people scrutinizing them as individuals, it's their relationship too. Nicolandria said it's so draining. They always have to constantly check on each other to see how the other one is doing mentally. She said, I wish we didn't have to do that as much as we have to. Thank God we've got each other, because I don't know what we would do without each other, literally, when it comes to that. Nick brought up something interesting about being in the media space now. He said people want you to let them in, and the more you let them in, the monetary gain is nice. So finding the balance of, okay, this is our work now, but it's also our life, that was kind of hard in the beginning, but now he feels like they've got a better grip on it. And here's the key part. He said missing out on some monetary value is so worth it for your mental health. That right there tells you everything about their priorities. Nicolandria addressed the criticism directly. She said people are always like, Nicolandria doesn't post enough. And then she said something that I absolutely love. She said, I don't care too. She's trying to get back into the groove of things. She wants to let people in, but it's hard when people are always trying to rip you to shreds. She hopes people understand that she's not purposely trying to keep them out of the loop. She said, imagine you being in the spotlight and people find little bits and pieces to pick you apart about. When she went on the show, she never thought about the aftermath. She only went thinking she wanted to find a person. She never thought about what her actual life would be like after. She's still trying to make sense of it all. She said she honestly forgot there was even prize money because she had such tunnel vision. She was so focused on the overall goal of finding someone. When things were going wrong in the villa, she literally told producers to send her home. That's how serious she was about finding real love, not winning money or getting famous. What I think makes Nicolandria so special is that they've both made it very clear they're dating with the goal of getting married. This isn't just for fun or to see where things go. They know they're each other's endgame, and I think that's why their energy is so different from other couples we see in this space. When you watch them, you're not seeing two people trying to figure out if they're compatible. You're seeing two people who already know they're meant to be together and are just enjoying the journey. That peace, that quiet confidence, that already been married for 50 years energy that everyone keeps talking about, it comes from knowing where you're headed. It comes from being secure in your relationship and not needing to prove anything to anyone. They're not performing for the cameras. They're just living their lives together. So here's what I want to know. Do you think Nick and Nicolandria made the right call by going private and protecting their relationship, even if it means losing out on some money and opportunities? Or do you think when you sign up for reality TV, you kind of owe it to the fans to keep sharing your life? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear what you all think about this. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we're going to keep following Nicolandria's journey, and I don't want you to miss any updates. I'll see you in the next one.